Welcome to the Panthers postgame show. Kristen Balboni alongside Panthers legends Mike Tolbert and Al Wallace. Guys, the Panthers had the chance to take the division lead in this game, but ultimately the Saints come away with the win on a last-second field goal. So, Al, I'll start with you. How do you put this one into context?
Yeah, I think I lost opportunity. I kind of look at it in football terms of just downs, right? First and second down, you want to get ahead of the change. You want to put yourself in a more favorable position on third down. This was the first of 4 opportunities, and they missed it. They did not gain yardage on first down. Now they got to fight a little harder for the next 3 weeks.
Mike, when you saw this game, what'd you think?
I was disappointed because we were right there. We understood what the magnitude of this game meant, by the Falcons beating Tampa. But we still got opportunity, and I'm excited about the future. There's some good things to clean up in this game. Overall, I think the team played pretty well, though.
Yeah, that's what we were looking at, the numbers. And as you said, Mike, something to point out, division still very much within reach for the Panthers. We're going to get into those scenarios a little bit later. But as you said, we looked at the stats. We were talking last night immediately after the game, and we're going, okay, not terrible, really some really good things, like you said. But when you mentioned some things to clean up, we're going to start with the penalties in this game. That seemed to be the most glaring area for the Panthers. 11 penalties in this game, the most under Dave Canales in his head coaching tenure. This Panthers team is not a team that typically gets penalized, one of the best in the league at that. But we are going to take a look right now at some of the biggest ones that maybe had a big impact on this game. And we're going to start with one early by Ike Ekwonu. So we see Bryce right here trying to make something happen. He does with his legs, gets pushed right there by Cam Jordan, and Ike comes in and says, "You're not going to do that to my quarterback." And Al, I know you said no problem with this one.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 times. I love this. This sets the tone. This should be the identity of this offensive line, of this offense, this football team, and Ike absolutely gets it done. If there's one guy you can count on doing that, I'll sign 79 up for that. Hey, you can't take a shot on our quarterback. He's our leader. We're counting on him to win. And right now, 7-0 lead in this football game. It lets the Saints know that this is going to be a dogfight. You just can't push around our quarterback. We're not going to let you do it.
And Mike, I know you're fine with this one too.
Oh, I love it. I'm that aggressive player anyways.
Yeah.
I remember when we started a brawl in New Orleans because they hit Cam the wrong way. So it's one of those things that you anticipate that. You want that out of your line. Like Al said, it's early enough in the game to be able to overcome it.
Yeah, the Panthers did have to punt on that drive, but as we said, just one of 11, and one if you're a player. If you're probably someone on the coaching staff, you like to see that one right there. I'm sure Bryce liked to see it as well. All right, let's go to another one, though. We got Bobby Brown on this next one. We're going to watch it right here. This was on 2nd and 14. Bobby Brown coming in, hands to the face.
Yeah, this is a tough one, right? This is a guy who's fighting. He's being violent with his hands is exactly what you want to see from Bobby Brown, a guy who played a fantastic game, who got involved. And look, those hands just slip up. It's unintentional. You're not trained to kind of pull off in those situations. The bad part is it came at the worst time, and it just puts the Saints back in a position to convert a first down. So very difficult timing for that penalty, but you don't want to kind of discipline the effort right there by Bobby Brown.
And then talk about difficult timing. We're going to show this last penalty right here, which was Lathan Ransom, unnecessary roughness. And what this did is that it changed it from a 62-yard field goal for the Saints kicker at the very end of the game to a very manageable 47-yarder, Mike.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. This is a guy that Al calls a headhunter. He's a knocker, right? He's going to be out there. He wants that contact, but we just got to be smarter in this situation, understand the game time situation, and make sure that we do the right things.
So, Al, this is something I always like to talk about. You have a team that typically plays very disciplined, as we said, top 5 in terms of penalties accepted in the league. So when you have a game like this, everyone's a professional, everyone knows we don't make those mistakes. How do you address it on a Monday?
Yeah, you just have to reset. The good part about the Panthers is they still have an opportunity to get where they're going. You're extremely disappointed, and you can see that from the body language of the guys. You can hear that from Dave Canales and everybody that went to the podium. But guys were pressing. You can see at the end of a game that the Panthers were leading, that everyone wanted to make a play, including Lathan Ransom, the young guy. And you just have to calm everybody down, put it behind you quickly. I mean, you have to trash this one or else it's going to linger a little bit and it's going to bleed into the next 3 weeks.
And Mike, just diving a little bit further into that, what does that Monday like in terms of what Al said, which is you've got to address this stuff, but you don't want to get so down on everybody, right, that it starts to bleed into this next game and what's ahead.
Right. Well, KB, I think you understand where you went wrong. You understand that this is an anomaly, right?
Yes.
11 penalties. That's the most penalties we had all year long, right? So you clean up those mistakes. You go back to the film and you look at what you did well, right? They ran the ball well. They were able to control the time of possession. They were able to play really good, solid defense, right? To play really good on special teams. You look at those things and you say, hey, we can build from this and we understand what's coming up and we'll be able to move forward.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about consistency. And so we've heard Dave Canales talk to the media and say that's one thing that we are really looking to develop. The Panthers maybe not the most consistent as we've come down the stretch. It seems kind of like a win, a loss. And we have a really interesting note that we want everyone to look at, which is what the Panthers do after getting above 500. So they've been above 500 4 times this season. And then you look a loss the next game. We see 0-4 in the 4 games immediately following going over 500, just averaging just 10.5 points. Turnovers 8 to the opponent's 4. Mike, how do you develop consistency? Because that's what you need down this stretch to win the division.
Right, you do. I think it's confidence. I think it's understanding that we're not used to playing with the lead. We're used to fighting, that free will of going out trying to continue the game. I think that you develop that confidence in knowing that, like, hey, we deserve to be in the league. We deserve to win this game. And it's a learning experience. He's going to learn that throughout the season. So.
And it's a bunch of new guys, like Mike is saying, that haven't been in this position before. So you've dealt with adversity. This team has done really well in spots where it's been tight and they've had to battle back and everyone's doubted them. And you hear that and you see it in the locker room. But how do you deal with the success? What does the routine look like when you're celebrating a victory? And I think the result is on the graphic there, that maybe things aren't connecting in the same way as when everything's pressing against you and you got to strain a little bit to come back and prove everybody wrong. It's a mentality, it's a process, and you got to figure out what you're doing in those weeks following going up above 500.
Does youth have anything to do with that, Al?
No doubt about it, right? This team is learning. Not only youth from a player and a locker room standpoint, but this is Dave Canales' second year as a head coach, as a play caller. Dan Morgan, those guys working together to build this culture, rebuild this team, the Carolina Panthers, and they're all figuring it out on the run. They have everything they need. We watch it every single week. Even in losses, this team has everything they need to be successful. They have 3 more opportunities. And like Mike said, I'm pretty excited that they get put in the pressure cooker now in the division on their field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's another opportunity for them to succeed. And that is what, like you said, Al, it's something, Mike, that they do really well, is whereas they're trying to build consistency, when they have a bad loss, they come back and respond. This team are fighters.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely the dog that you want in your fight, right? That's the guy you want to take into a foxhole with you. Well, there's no way out. They're going to fight. They're going to understand that, like, hey, this is our livelihood on the line, and they're going to go at it.
Also, we talked about anomalies, as you said, the 11 penalties. We know that's not going to happen again in a game. Also, the Panthers are known for their game-winning drives. It did not happen in this game. They were up 7 with 6:53 left. They had to punt the ball. The Saints come back and tie the game, and then the Panthers get the ball back with 2:24 left and have to punt it away. But Al, it didn't work out this time, but every other time we see that offense needing a game-winning drive, they have it, and I have to imagine that inspires a lot of confidence as saying this one was not what we wanted, but we know that we're capable of doing it down the stretch.
Yeah, you're not going to win them all. And I heard Mike say it last night. Those guys get paid too. The guys across from them are absolutely trying to play spoiler. And the New Orleans Saints, too often this season, the Panthers have been in that spot and they've excelled. And now you have to learn how to finish football games. On an offensive perspective, it starts with number 9. It starts with Bryce Young. You put the ball in his hands. He's been capable and able to make the plays this season. Now, as a defense with the lead, how can you make a play? Who's going to be the drive stopper, the guy that gets us off the field? And you just saw the youth show up, this team, someone trying to make a play, and it resulted in 11 mistakes, 11 penalties that hurt the team and allowed the Saints to make a comeback.
Well, here's what head coach Dave Canales had to say about the locker room after that loss to the Saints.
Yeah, there's two things going on. There's a lot of guys who are really disappointed because of the missed opportunity that we had, and at the same time, there's a lot of great leaders in that locker room that understand we got a lot of football in front of us. We have to make sure that we move on quickly. We look at the film, we make sure we tidy up the things that we need to, and get ready for the next game. And that's really got to be the mentality, so we stay together and finish this thing.
Back here on the Carolina Panthers post-game show with Mike Tolbert, Al Wallace here. Going to take a look at a couple of snaps here. There's some good, there's some things that the Panthers need to clean up. We're going to start, Mike, on offense, right? A couple of critical plays in this football game. Fullback dives to Chuba Hubbard, two-back set. You got to love it. Both of those guys are productive. But let's take a look at how the New Orleans Saints made some adjustments to that single play.
Absolutely, Al. You know, I'm always happy when you get two running backs in the game, right? So this is our first fourth down, right? As you can see, though, I stop it right there. As you can see, the Saints are in what we call a typical 3-4 defense. They got two linebackers. They got two outside backers right there, 3 D linemen. Now, you're going to notice the change as we move it on, right? You're going to notice that change in the defense. The simple adjustment that the Saints made, we were able to get this first down here. As you can see, you check out the way that these blocks are made. You got double block here going to that backer. These two are responsible for there. We're going to cut off outside with Mitchell Evans. We're going to, right here, Icky's going to one-on-one this guy. We're going to cut off right here. It's making it a lot easier make it a lot easier for this run to go ahead and get this first down. But as we get later in the game, the Saints have already seen this look at. Now we're going to notice the subtle change that they made. They went to a 6-2 defense, right? So now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, pretty much what we call down linemen, right? So now it makes the blocks a little bit tougher. But this is where we want to see a variation off of what we've already shown them. You know, let Bryce keep the ball. Let Bryce keep it and pitch it to Rico on the backside, you know, and then obviously, we just got to win. You know, it's man on man. Like I said earlier, these guys get paid too. We just got to win.
Yeah, you see the subtle adjustment by the Saints here. And as a defensive player, I'll just take a look at, you know, the adjustment they made. Obviously, you're talking about adding another man to this front. Right now, it's getting off of those doubles, those heavy double blocks on short yardage plays. And we're going to take a look at New Orleans Saints defensive tackle right here, just on that play. The last time you get Big Taylor Moton, the veteran right here, it's a good angle. He's already got it. It's just an easy down block to just pin him in. Mitchell Evans, of course, you're seeing right there. He knows he has to make this cutoff block. But watch the subtle adjustment. A player who remembers the first time this happened makes the adjustment. He's going to make that play right there on the veteran Taylor Moton to pop back to the outside. No way your tight end Evans can make that block, and he's in the backfield, and it's disruptive. It's those little things within a defense and an offense, the chess match of a long football game, that makes a huge difference in how you can attack. Now let's look at some of the good, right? This offseason, this Panthers defense gave up a lot of rushing yards. Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, they go out. They want to bolster this defensive line. So you know I'm at home right here. Let's first off start off and look at the defense that the Carolina Panthers are in. One thing we noticed right here when we went over this, that's Trevor Wallace, right? That's the linebacker out there. So more of a dime defense in this particular situation. But what we're going to notice is the big man right here, Bobby Brown, brought over to be that prototypical nose guard for this team, to be disruptive in the middle. You notice number 95, Derek Brown, not on the field right now. But let's check out the big man right here, a double. He splits it down the line, the physicality, the tone setter, just gets it done. All right, we'll take it back just a little bit right there. And just look at the big man and how he gets his work done. Uses great hands, great fit, and he's able to just walk down the line and take care of that run. You see him right here. He's just splitting that double team. Great shoulders, the turn. This is how coaches teach it. You sit down on those 200-300 pounders. When they split, you come up, you make a big play. So you got to love Bobby Brown and what he's doing. We'll get another look at it right here to see the big man just go out and do work.
Al, I do want to say something, though. I do want to show you, look at all these hats that's around the football. Right, look at all those white jerseys. That's what you want to see out of a really good defense. People running and flying to the football.
And we watch the sidelines too. You just watch these guys who know the kind of work, who knows what it takes to be good at this. And we'll stop it here where we get this other look, again, at Bobby Brown just being physical, being a man right here. I believe he's over here this time. watching this play. He's just going to, Mike, just looking at how he just is disruptive in his play. Again, here's another double, 2 guys, shoulder turn, hips into the gap, making sure he takes that. But he actually pops out of his gap because he's making a football play. Don't be a robot. I've heard that so many times as a football player. Don't be a robot. Go out and make plays. He makes it easier for the linebackers and the guy at the second level because he is just playing with a certain level of violence. He's really gotten into this team, and he makes it so much better right now for this team to get it done. Now, on a play where maybe he's not the first guy in there, he's not going to make this tackle, but he's going to make this tackle when you watch the physicality that he plays with. He's going to stack his guy right here, and he's going to allow Gibson, who had another great day, sacks, pass rush, get the job done. Just a big physical guy. And you think he's just a run stopper, Mike? We got one, throw it in for all the pass rushers right here to get a look at. You watch this guy at a nose guard position use his hands. We call this a push-pull, right? You use that leverage and you use the momentum from the offensive lineman who's going to anchor down against a big 330-pounder, and you're going to use it against him. He's going to stack him up, pull him through, get to the quarterback. Let's go celebrate with the teammates, man. Great play, great pickup by Dan Morgan, Dave Canales in the offseason, getting that defensive line and that pass rush together for this time of year, late December. They're going to need it down the stretch against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some man coverage, and now you have to ask yourself, do you trust Bryce Young? They're going empty. They love doing this. Smaller quarterback, bigger receivers, let him see the field. Get your man zone reads. Right now, they know they got zone coverage.
Carolina has been outstanding on 4th down this year. It won them the game against the Rams. Pressure coming. Young breaks free. Young on the throw across the middle. He's got it to McMillan. Tetaroa McMillan grazing free and spinning down to the 21.
All right, as we said a little bit earlier, there were some bright spots in this game, and one of those was Bryce's ability to use his legs. I mean, we saw him getting out of a jam right there. That was just such a huge play to Tetaroa McMillan. He also, guys, he rushed for 49 yards, which is the 3rd most in his career. And we know that he's not afraid to use his legs, so that's such a bright spot. Al, what did you see from him in that game in terms of running?
It's just escapability. It's not a guy that looks to run the ball, but certainly very capable of managing the pocket. Bryce Young is just so good at eluding the pass rush, just allowing guys to think they're going to pick him up. And, you know, he doesn't have to do it in a way that is Michael Vick-esque, a guy that I played against that would just blow your socks off with the speed and his ability to make you miss. Moving forward, this team is going to need those legs of Bryce Young. Yes, Rico's back there, Chuba's back there, but when Bryce Young runs the ball, this is a really good offense that adds a different wrinkle that teams just don't account for because they look at Bryce and the stature and all those things. He just makes them pay.
Mike, you're the expert. How do you rate his running skills?
I think it's good. I mean, I think he had good ball security. Me personally, I would like to see him put his shoulder down and run somebody over. But that's just me, you know what I'm saying? But that's not the game that we want him to play. I think he came out ready to play. As you can tell, he had that ankle taped up and ready to go.
Yeah, that ankle taped up and ready to go. And you'd love to see him finish the drive with his legs. You know, he picked up some big first downs there. And then he always throws that little smile, that little first down, and you go, oh, he's ready to go for this game. He's feeling good. We love to see it right there. We love to see that confidence that he has, that smirk that he has. It is great to see. So, Al, we have not seen Tampa Bay yet. 2 of the last 3 against them. What does this look like? What does him using his legs look like against this Tampa Bay defense? Is that a weapon that we might see here?
Yeah, I think you have to use Bryce Young because you're going to need to slow down Hassan Reddick, Yaya Diaby. Those guys are, I think, better athletes from a pass rusher perspective than the aging New Orleans Saints. So for Bryce Young, it's going to be his ability to make them pay, to draw them in, or when that line breaks down a little bit, the protection to take off and run and pick up first downs. It's not RPOs, it's not the options where Bryce needs to run the ball, but when the protection breaks down, if the receivers aren't open, he's going to convert first downs, and that's the most important play. Can he pick up first downs for this team with his legs?
And, Mike, what do you want to see from these running backs against this Tampa Bay, this very athletic Tampa Bay defense?
Well, I think it starts up front. I think it starts up front with our offensive line, you know, getting downhill. But that's going to come from Coach Canales, the play calling. With a faster, more athletic defense, you want to run right at them. You see a lot of times when people play against Dallas back in the day when they had Michael Parsons, or even Green Bay, we ran right at them. You know, you run right at those athletic guys that really only want to rush the quarterback.
Yes.
Right? That's what they want. They want sacks. So we have to run right at them and let these big guys, we call them hog mollies, let them go out there and ball and just go straight ahead. And then I think once we get that running game going, we'll be able to attack other areas of that defense.
That's certainly the way the Panthers want to play these games.
Absolutely.
That is for sure. All right, let's take a look at the standings, because this is, as we heard Dave Canales say, this is a disappointing game for the guys in this locker room. It's a disappointing game for the fans. But look, still tied atop the division lead with the Bucs, which I think if you told anyone at the beginning of the year, everyone would be ecstatic about that, right? And then 2 games against the Bucs, plenty of opportunities to win. So Al, resetting from the loss yesterday, when you look at this and you're in the locker room, what are you telling these younger guys?
You're telling them, let's just focus on Sunday. 1 o'clock, let's go out. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here comes Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans is back. We know what Bucky Irvin is done to this football team. Let's go out and win a football game. You can worry about the other 2 later in the month down the road. But if you're a young guy, let's focus on cleaning up the things that we didn't get right this week, the penalties, some of the unforced errors, and go out there and take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got 2 shots at them, but if you take care of this first one, it certainly sets it up for a great finish for the Panthers.
Did you guys hear the Todd Bowles post-game presser? It was very expletive-laden after the Bucs lost that game on Thursday night. I actually think that is when the Panthers perform best. When you have got a team with a lot on the line, like the Packers, for instance, you've got a team with a lot on the line coming in. The Rams, no one thinks you're going to win those games. Certainly the Panthers have been doubted throughout the season. Bucs are going to be fired up, as you said, Al, and I just think as a player, you relish those opportunities, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Those are the times that you really want to knock somebody off that high horse.
Yeah.
I know we don't like bulletin board material, but I'm pretty sure Coach Canales is showing this. These guys are going to be ready. So you got to make sure that you're ready, right? And that's going to make sure that they're going to get ready in practice. Every drill is going to be ran, full speed with intention on it. So.
All right, let's take a look now at how the Panthers can win the division. I think we heard a lot going into this game. You win the game against the Saints. You win next week against the Bucs. You've locked it up. But look, still very much within their reach. As we look at these final 3 games, we certainly know what those are well. So if the Panthers win the next 2 games and the Bucs lose their next 2 games, the Panthers win the division. If the Panthers win both of the Bucs matchups, as you might imagine, they win the division. Now, if the Panthers lose against Tampa Bay, the Bucs have to lose to Miami, and then we have to win out the last 2 games. So a lot of scenarios, but Al, I imagine as you're in that locker room, you just say, all right, first things first, we got to take care of the Bucs at home.
Yeah, take care of this game at home. It's an opportunity that you have. It's the next opportunity, which is the most important one. So I like this position for the Carolina Panthers. I like Baker Mayfield coming in a little bit salty, feeling like he has something to prove with that chip on his shoulder. I like the Panthers to take a few away from Baker Mayfield, trying to force things and make a point here on this field, in this stadium against his former team that he feels slighted by. So I like this spot for the Panthers.
And Mike, we've talked about this. We've talked about this in weeks past. How good does it feel to know you still control your own destiny? Right.
I mean, I think if you ask anybody on this team, anybody in this organization in preseason, hey, week 15, week 16, you're going to be able to control your own destiny. All right. This is how you're going to win the division. I think that anybody would take that, whether it's tied or blowing out at the top. I think this team is primed and ready to go for the playoffs. All
right, the Panthers game this week is over, but there's still a Monday Night Football game. We always love to get our analyst picks on this one. So first, though, we are going to take a look at how you guys have done this season. Ow. Ow.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Mike, you're in it too. Now, Stu, that's the one that we tease him about a little bit. He's always taking the underdog, which you appreciate. He's always going the different way, but it's not working out for him too well.
He's a golfer. He's not into football anymore. He's a golfer.
All right. Well, you both have an opportunity here to increase that win percentage. So, Mike, let me start with you. Tonight's game is the Dolphins at the Steelers. Where are you going?
I'm going Miami. I think they've won, 6 of the last 7. Since losing Tyreek Hill, I think they figured something out. I'm going Miami.
Look at those stats right there. Al, do you agree or disagree?
I'm going to go opposite of Mike this time. Look, I'm a South Florida boy, and I know what it feels like we walked in this morning here, and it's cold outside. They don't fare well. I think Tua's record in cold weather games is just horrible. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers on their field, in their element, in their climate. Even though J.J. Watt, needling session gone wrong, collapsed lung surgery, Alex Highsmith, former Charlotte 49er, I think they still get it done.
All right. Well, we will see what happens. We'll certainly be updating those standings next week. Guys, thank you so much, as always, and thank you to our amazing Panthers fans for watching. We'll catch you next week on the Panthers Postgame Show.